You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains, and I'll rise up.
Good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Rankin, Mon Valley, Pittsburgh section of the National Council of Negro Women. My name is Schnel Simmons, section political chair. And joining me is Alice Paylor-Dais, president of the Still Valley NAACP and a section member. We thank all of you who have participated in our previous programs and hope you will join us today by calling 412-231-2238. Oh, that's a mistake. 412-231-2288. The number will remain on the screen. Our program today will celebrate African American women in politics. We have two very special guests today, the Honorable Mayor Nickole Nesby of Duquesne, and the very energetic co-founder and lead organizer of the Take Action Fawn Valley, Fawn Walker-Montgomery. This program satisfies two of our national mandates, which are to disseminate information about issues affecting African American women and their families, and training and supporting women and youth in career development and community leadership. It also satisfies two of our national initiatives, which are to promote and recognize leadership among women of color and champion civil and human rights. We will be introducing our guests by reading their brief bios, and Miss Alice Paylor-Dais.
Thank you, Schnel. I would like to introduce the Honorable Mayor Nickole Nesby, who is a dedicated public servant with 20 years of experience in the legislative government. In November of 2017, Mayor Nesby won a historic election by successfully unseating incumbent Philip Krivacek to become the first woman and first African-American mayor to head the city of Duquesne, Pennsylvania. Mayor Nesby was born in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, the youngest child of Mr. Richard and Mrs. Carol Brooks. They instilled within her the drive and determination to succeed against all odds. Mayor Nesby's education achievements include a Bachelor of Business Administration, an accounting certificate, and a Master of Business Science degree. Prior to becoming the city of Duquesne's mayor, she worked as a frontline manager and contact service representative for the U.S. Treasury Department. She also served as a union steward for the National Treasurer Employees Union. As part of the Legislative Affairs Committee team, she lobbied for equal pay, opposed the government shutdown, and secured additional funding for the National Treasurer Employee Union. Her advocacy in support of national public policy came under the direction of the former U.S. President Bill Clinton and the former President Barack Obama. Mayor Nesby was the first African-American woman to join Congressman Mike Doyle's staff, working as a field representative. While in that office, she saved the city of Clairton's WIC program from being eliminated. In addition, she became a federal coordinator for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Bureau of Census. The Honorable Mayor Nickole Nesby is a recipient of the Phyllis Wheatley Literary Society of Duquesne Milestone Award in recognition of a lifetime of outstanding accomplishments and notably public service. Her efforts will continue to be successful as she endeavors to help rebuild Duquesne and bring to its citizens a new era of prosperity, sustained economic growth, and hope for a brighter tomorrow. She believes in the power of God to transform the lives of families that live in our community. and we welcome you, Ms. Nesby. Our next guest is Fawn Walker-Montgomery. She has run for state representative in the 35th District and is a lifelong resident of McKeesport. She was the first Black person and woman to run for a state seat in the Mon Valley. Fawn has a BA in Political Science from Johnson C. Smith University and a Master's of Science in Criminal Justice Administration from Point Park University. She is also a past second-term councilwoman in McKeesport. Here she has made a name for herself as an advocate for the people. Fawn fought for transparency, worked with various community groups, and took on the status quo of business as usual. In addition, after talking with residents through the Valley, she saw the need to create a group that allows everyone to work together to combat violence. Take Action Mon Valley is designed to address violence through organizing and activism. She has now grown Take Action Consulting Service, which is abbreviation is TAC, T-A-C. TAC does political, community, and organizational consulting. Fawn has been married to veteran and actor George Montgomery for 7 years, and they have a 14-year-old daughter. Welcome, Fawn. And I think we're going to start off with questions for Mayor Nesby. And you are the first African-American and the first female to become the mayor of the city of Duquesne. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yes.
I took office on January 2nd of 2018. It's the date that I actually took office. I was sworn into office.
And what did it feel like to take that win?
It felt great. You know, being a lifelong resident of the city of Duquesne, I've seen the city change from so much from when I initially started growing up to where it is now. And the question is, what happened? You know, it's like so many still towns, the city of Duquesne is still basically dormant, and there's not very much economic or community development that has taken place in the area.
So you know what it has been, and you know what it can be again.
Yes, I definitely do. And I really didn't realize it was so bad until earlier this summer. We had about 35 youth in our summer employment program. And I took them throughout the city so that they could see what the city looked like. And they had so many ideas of what houses should be torn down, what they could possibly put here. And then it dawned on me, we've been an Act 47 distressed community for 28 years. They've never seen the city at its full potential.
Oh, is that what prompted you to run for mayor?
That was one of the reasons that prompted me to run. Another reason is when I was out sick from work, my neighbor was actually selling drugs at the end of my driveway. And I had a discussion with him before about the situation, and I actually walked down to the police department and I reported it to my former chief of police, the issue. And after that, my neighbor came back and confronted me about reporting him to the police.
Really?
Yes. Wow. So then after that, I figured everyone has a boss, and I would continue to go up the chain of command. So the next chain of command was the Attorney General's office for the county. And when I went and met with them over in the city of McKeesport, Eaton Park, I received a blanket letter stating that they weren't going to help me. So I decided that I was going to help me and I was going to help my community move forward.
Very good. So what is your vision for Duquesne?
My vision for Duquesne is to make it great again. Use Donald Trump's slogan. I remember the city at its full potential. I remember when we had home ownership going up and down Priscilla, First, Second, Third, Camp, Wiley Avenue. All of that was developed with home owners. I remember we had playgrounds where children actually were able to play on equipment. Children actually smiled and laughed. Right now, I don't see that in our children. I attended, the last funeral I attended was a youth in the community, and the youth didn't cry. They were so hardened to where this has become a normal behavior and pattern in our area, and it's not. I remember growing up when we planned for the future. We planned for graduation. We planned for going to college. We planned for weddings. We planned for childbirth. We planned for everything, graduation, buying the first house, buying the first car, you know, opening the first businesses. Those are what I envisioned for the city of Duquesne to come back.
Very good. So what issues have you encountered in pursuing some of these since becoming mayor?
Well, the first obstacle that I had to endure was actually trying to find out if the city was actually viable and able to stand on itself. Again, we've been an Act 47 distressed community for 28 years. When I came into office, we definitely were impacted by a deficit. However, we ended the year with over $200,000 in the black in the first year under my administration. And we also have secured over $200,000 in additional grant funding. The obstacles that I have incurred have been, I would say, more or less racial intimidation. My current city treasurer said, "You people think you run the city." My home was put on the internet. The American flag was removed from outside of City Hall, and there was feces brought inside City Hall into the women's bathroom. So those were some things where at times I'm afraid to stay at home, and I've been staying with family members and friends sleeping on their couch. The other opposition that I've had is the redevelopment authority of the city of Duquesne, which is chaired by our current city treasurer, former city controller, and the former city councilman and his wife is chaired now. But prior to me coming into office, they moved $1.3 million to their private, nonprofit Boys and Girls Club, technically, which is called the Duquesne Business Advisory Corporation, which is chaired by two former mayors and the former city manager of the city of Duquesne.
So you're dealing with a lot, and the person that said to you, "You people," they actually said that to your face?
Yes, as a matter of fact, he said it to council as well to the audience at a meeting as well, at a council meeting as well, yes.
Are you getting enough support from your community at large?
No, which is really disheartening because I won overwhelmingly. There was 366 votes that had never appeared in the voting registry in the city of Duquesne. That was unheard of by the number that I've actually won by. I did receive some information resulting in the fact that there was displeasure in the appointment of the police chief that I had. However, I think that he's doing an astronomical job within the community as far as providing safety. And, you know, in order to have development, whether it's community, economic development, the first thing you want to feel is safe.
It's safe, that's true. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
My question to you is, the controller that you have, or is he the treasurer or the controller?
He's the treasurer of the city of Duquesne at this
Okay.
particular point in time.
Okay, is he, he's not at your, you're not at leisure to eliminate him?
No, that is actually an elected position is what it is. It's elected position. And it is election year right now. So we do have 2 council seats that are up as well as the treasurer
We have a
seat.
call waiting.
Okay.
Yes. Like to have that call come in?
Good
Hello?
evening.
Yes,
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Oh, very good. Your name?
Mary Nesby.
Okay, Miss Nesby, would you like to hear your comments?
Yes, I'd like to ask Mayor Nickole Nesby, what does she think that other elected officials can do to help support and get behind her campaign?
I would love to see more local elected officials speak up regarding the injustice that has happened inside the city of Duquesne. Again, we talk about the city of Pittsburgh being the most livable city, but my poverty level in the city of Duquesne is at 80%. That is similar to what it is in a third world country. I nearly have a third of my land, which is owned by the county, which has been left blighted and vacant for over 16 years without development. I would like for my fellow elected officials to quit turning a blind eye and acting as if this is normal. There's nothing about this situation that is normal, what has happened to this community. And I would like for them to be more vocal and to speak up. I would love for us to unite and actually move the city forward. And that does include working with the county, the state, as well as the federal government, and any private, corporate, or nonprofit organizations to move the city of Duquesne forward so it can reach its full potential. We currently have been selected for Harvard University for their Master's in Policy program, which will be available and completed by May of 2019. We've also been selected for the National Fitness Campaign as 2019 Healthy Communities. So those are just some of the little things that we're working on in order to move the city forward. Now, we are also an enterprise zone, a hub zone, and we also have 3 census tracts for our opportunity zone. And the city of Duquesne is open for business.
Oh, okay.
That's wonderful. So you do have some real powerhouses that are going to be coming in to assist you with your endeavors.
Yes, definitely. We have a lot of children in our community. We have over 600 children which actually need some type of after-school activities in order to make sure that they prosper. We do have the local Boys and Girls Club, but it only houses up to 150 of our youth. And those are first come, first served basis based on CYF. So they take those individuals first, and then they take other community members.
Well, I noticed this summer you had started something in Duquesne with movies in the park or something of that nature.
Yes, this summer I wrote my first grant, and it was for Allegheny County Health Department, Live Well Allegheny. It was for a $500 grant, and what we did was we had a movie projector and a popcorn popper, and we had movies in the park. It was chilly the first night, so our fire department actually moved out all of the trucks, rearranged their furniture so that we can actually have the showing right inside the garage, right there inside our fire department, and I really appreciate that.
How was that received by the youth and the community?
We had probably about 8 or 9 children show up for that one, and then we probably had about 12 for the second one, and we're going to continue to do that as well. We're looking actually into possibly bringing it inside City Hall and doing it on a wall. And we have, I've been meeting with groups of our youth in the community to try to figure out what exactly they want in the community, because they are the future, and we need to start training them and empowering them to be the leaders of tomorrow.
And what about your school system? I know a lot of the students, the high school students or junior high school students are being bused out of the community?
Yes, we are actually, some go to East Allegheny and some are actually going to West Mifflin. The children have expressed an interest of going to school in their own neighborhood and wanting their own high school back. They're not feeling wanted at these other school districts at this particular point in time. You know, so we have discussed that. You know, I've spoken with the new superintendent over at the city of Duquesne, and she's very nice, and I believe she's really in it to try to help the students move forward. I would like to see more cooperations with the school district and businesses in the community so that we can actually develop that workforce. You know, you say, first you got to get the education and then you get the job, and then once you get the job, then they're saying you need the experience. So what would be nice if we could intertwine that so that we can start having these conversations as early as the 7th grade, and by the 9th grade, we can really start developing our next generation of viable taxpayers.
So is it the idea of bringing the children back into the community for the school. Is that doable? Is that something that's on the table, or?
Well, that's a discussion that the children have expressed with me. Our last meeting was this Saturday is when I met with them. It took group, I want to say about 17. We have pizza, and we discussed, what do you want to do as far as activities? A lot of the children want to do creative arts, dance, jazz, miming, community service. It's really different to hear a child say, yes, and we want therapy too. And I said, oh my goodness, you want therapy. But for them to know that they want a safe place and they want someone to confide in and talk to. Partnering, they even suggested partnering with Big Brothers and Big Sisters and Gwen's Girls. And so they know some different community organizations out there that they actually have seen or they want to emulate inside the city of Duquesne. And we will be working to reach out to them so that we need to develop those children and bring them something positive in their life so that they can have, a better future.
Okay. You have any
Oh, we have another call. Hello? Hello?
Yes, this is Mary Nesby again. I have a question for Ms. Fawn Walker.
Oh, okay.
My question is that how can the youth get involved with Take Action Mon Valley that we can move it into the future?
So Take Action Mon Valley, we actually just started a Black Student Union through the work that we're doing in McKeesport. So any youth can get involved coming through that. So the Black Student Union is community ran. It's actually a collaboration with Penn State Greater Allegheny and McKeesport School District, as well as Take Action Mon Valley. So we actually have our second meeting coming up on January 28th at 6 o'clock at the Healthy Village Learning Institute on Versailles Avenue in McKeesport. So the youth can come out to that meeting and get involved with the Black Student Union. And you don't have to just be from McKeesport. You can be from any area in the Mon Valley.
And what's the date again?
It is January 28th, actually this upcoming Monday.
Oh, okay. And
At
the
6
time?
o'clock.
6 o'clock. And the location?
It's 201 Boyd Street.
Boyd?
It's called the Healthy Village Learning Institute.
Okay. Okay.
It's the old St. Pat's Church.
Oh, okay. I know what that
That's
is.
that right off of Versailles,
Yeah,
too.
Mr. Keith's place.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Fawn, why don't you tell us a little bit about your organization?
Yes. So Take Action Mon Valley was actually founded 4 years ago in 2014. So the history of Take Action Mon Valley is really a labor of love, I would say for myself. So we started in 2014, and we started because my cousin, May Harriet, she actually went to a meeting in Pittsburgh called We Need Justice Too. And at that meeting, they were talking about how to combat community violence, and I believe the Wolf sisters in Pittsburgh were just murdered, and a police chief got on TV, and these were white women, and he said, we'll give all our resources so we can get this solved. So Autumn Perkins actually started We Need Justice Too, and her point was, okay, we also need that same kind of resources, for our communities when our people are dying, people of color, Black and brown people. So May went to that meeting, and so she said, we need to do one in McKeesport. So we did one at the Elks, and it was, I see, a pretty good turn, like over 65 people show up.
Really? That's good.
In the Mon Valley and other areas outside the city of Pittsburgh, the county investigates the homicides. So we had the county police come, McKeesport police, DA's office came out, and it was really just like a vending session, I would say. So I facilitated that meeting, and I took a lot of the solutions from that, and then we had follow-up meetings. And then our follow-up meetings, we seen that everybody was coming just from different areas, from McKeesport, Duquesne, Clare, and West Memphis. So it wasn't just a McKeesport kind of an issue thing. So what we did was we decided to name it Take Action Mon Valley. And I did a SWOT analysis with McKeesport just to talk about our strengths and weaknesses, opportunities, threats. And we did something similar in Duquesne. So we decided our mission statement would be to combat community violence through activism and organizing.
Okay.
And community violence, we see that as just not gang violence. We see it as any form of violence against any group of people. So that could be police violence, terrorism, domestic violence, any violence against a group of people, if any discrimination. So that's how we kind of see community violence. And I call it a labor of love because the drive that I have to do it really comes from why I got into politics and the experience I had to go through. So what kind of prompted me to get into politics was, I guess I would say, two experiences. So born and raised in McKeesport. The first experience would be high school. So I went to McKeesport High School and just walking around the school and just kind of felt like there was no place for Black and brown students. We had no Black history class. Any Black history celebration we had was your traditional, as I would call, shucking and jiving. Same old stuff.
Yeah.
So I got upset, and my mom said, well, you need to do something about it. So I got a little petition on like a little piece of paper like this and just walked around and got it signed. We had a little mini protest like in front of the principal's office. This was in like 9th grade. So I said, this is what I really want to do. I really kind of want to get into this.
Okay, we have a call waiting.
Oh, okay.
We have another call waiting. Hello?
Yes, good evening. My name is Mark, and I'm calling from the north side. And I'm calling, this is a call of pretty much of support and encouragement. You have my two favorite individuals there, and I have to call to support them. Of course, Mayor Nesby, and then, of course, I'm sorry, I just lost my thing.
Was Fawn?
Miss Walker, I'm sorry. Fawn Walker, yeah. Oh, it's sitting in. It's starting to set in the old age.
That's all
but
right.
I just wanted to say, I wanted to call and support both of them. I'm well aware of the struggles and what they're doing. And I just wanted to ask a general question. At some point, both of them were either looked at or treated as if they are outside of the mainstream in terms of their way of addressing issues in their community. And so my question is, where is the so-called Democratic Party that's supposed to be the party of the African American people? Why are they not coming to both of the aids and the struggles that both of you are fighting for? Number two, where is this newly found movement, the DSA, the Democratic Socialist Group or whatever? They're handpicking certain women to get behind locally and nationally, and they're making an impact. Why aren't they getting behind the two of you? And so I don't want to say that it's selective in terms of who and what certain kind of individuals are looking for. I don't want to say that they are ignoring real issues in terms that impact Black people, but I'm just saying maybe it's an oversight, and maybe you're on the list and you're moving forward and you're on their radar, because with each of you and your individual movements and things you're doing, it would seem that all you would need is a boost from each of these so-called movements are supposed to be advocating for the things that you're doing. So it always angers me at some point because I see something a little bit more. So sorry for the long question, but I just wonder if either of you had any comments concerning that at all. And once again, I consider myself the president of both of your fan clubs. Continue to struggle. Thank you.
Before we have them answer that question, I want to say that it was an honor and a privilege to have them here today. And it's the reason that we have them here is to wake up or make aware the Black community to come out and come forward, and especially young Black women. Stand up. Stand up. You don't have to like the way they part their hair. You don't have to like it if they didn't know you and didn't speak today. Come on, let's get busy. Let's get busy moving our communities forward. And it is actually, again, an honor and a privilege to have them here as guests. And I'm hoping that more people will reach out, because we don't need the Democratic Committee. We only need us. There are enough of us to smooth and move things forward. So now I'll turn it back over to them.
We have a call waiting.
We have another call waiting? Yes. Hello.
Oh, that was Mark.
Okay.
Okay.
I will go ahead and I'll address the issue. I really don't know. I know that when I ran for office, the Duquesne Democratic Committee did support me. They actually endorsed me as a candidate when I ran for office. I did not receive very much financial backing from any elected official. I thought it was a little odd because I generally spent my first 10 years working in politics on the congressional level, to where I was actually used to go to on a couple occasions where I was sent to Washington, D.C. to learn about federal legislation, and actually came back to the Commonwealth where I educated state senators and House of Representatives staff on how federal government was going to impact them. So it was disheartening where I didn't get any support. But when you look at our Democratic Party locally here in Western Pennsylvania, it is predominantly white male. So there is a lack of support there and a lack of diversity or even inclusion. When I go to various events right now, I actually feel like Rudolph left in the room where everyone goes to the right to congregate, and they leave me standing there on the left. So that is what I have been experiencing in my Democratic Party, is where I feel. Any of the other organizations, I have not heard from them, and no one has ever tried to contact me regarding offering assistance. I've gotten some from Unite, I must say, with Summerlee, as well as Fawn here with Take Action Mon Valley. So I do have that support. And I've also recently was contacted by the Masons out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as members of the historical black colleges and universities. So those have been my latest, group of support.
I also understand that you have a little difficulty with your staffing your office.
Yes, I am looking for volunteers because I need an administrative assistant. I was denied funding to hire an assistant in my office.
Wait, now, did I understand you correctly that you finished in the black $252,000, and that you, in addition to that, you acquired additional funding?
Yes.
And you were, okay, now, that funding that you were able to create, you're not allowed access to spending it?
No, council stated that it was not in the budget.
Neither was the $500,000 that you accrued.
I secured over $200,000 in grant funding in the 2018 year. And actually, even though we started off in a negative deficit in 2018,
Right.
we finished the year with over $205,000 in the black.
Okay, but you weren't allowed to, that was not in your budget, was it?
No.
Oh, okay. So that money, you were not allowed to budget for administrative work for the city.
That is correct.
Thank you. And I think that we need to take a look at some of these things. Maybe people aren't prepared, or people that run for some of these offices don't understand what it takes to run an office. What does it take to build a city? Well, how do you get all these things done? You don't go to a vending machine and push a button. We have a call waiting. We have another call waiting. Oh, I'm so happy to hear you. Hello. Hello.
Yes, this is Jim from the East End,
Okay, Jim.
and I just had a couple questions. Could you tell me what the population is of Duquesne and what percentage of it is African American?
Yes, my population is 5,600, 70% of my community is African American, 27% is Caucasian, and 3% is other.
And I was just wondering, 3%, is that Hispanic?
I'm not sure what that that group actually is, so I don't want to misspeak and hurt someone's feelings. But there's somewhere, I do believe it may be Russian, from when I'm hearing them speak by their dialogue, but there are some which may be in the Mexican area as well.
I see. And last night on the news, I heard that some people from Duquesne were complaining because some of the streets were not cleaned, and it was supposed to be a council meeting today. I was wondering, was that problem resolved today at the meeting?
What I did was I had this meeting scheduled prior to the snowstorm, so I stuck with my commitment to here, and I provided a statement regarding the situation in the city of Duquesne, which basically is, in December, we received an award letter from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania granting us $54,000 for the Public Works Department. At that particular point in time, I forwarded that information to the councilwoman who was in charge of that department, as well as the Public Works Director, and I also carbon copied all the council members as well as the city manager on the notations regarding that award letter. In that letter, it required us to complete the form and turn it in for funding, okay? I have yet to receive that list of the needs. Therefore, I could not complete the form myself. The completed form as of today has not made its way to me either. And 70%, because it was declared a national emergency, 70% of whatever expenses that we incurred was going to be covered by the county. So at this particular point in time, I cannot address what happened and the failure of that communication to make sure that our city was taken care of. Under the third-class city code, there are 3 different ways that the city can operate. The city of Duquesne operates under a commission, which means that each one of the individuals of council are in charge of a special department. So that means if you have a question regarding our finances, Councilwoman Fawn McDaniel would answer those questions. If you had a question regarding our water or the pickup of the trash, then you would go with Elaine Washington, Councilwoman. If you had a question regarding properties, abandoned property, over weeds grown, whatever it may be along that portion or development, you would go to Councilman Timmy Caldwell. And if you had a question with the Public Works Department, that falls under the jurisdiction of Councilwoman Tara Henderson Murphy. So that's the way it works under our government that we operate under the city of Duquesne.
I see. And just a couple more questions. Is there any chances that some new businesses might be coming to Duquesne?
Yes. I'm looking, there has been some talks about possibly doing an in-city farm, which is different, but it's going to be dealing with hydroponics. Certainly there's a portion in agriculture is basically what it will be. So there's a section there where we may employ, if everything continues to go well, up to 190 individuals. Starting base salary entry level is at $38K. So that would be really great because they're going to take them straight out of high school. They'll also, in my community, we have 40% of my community have some type of criminal drug background. And also we have illiteracy rate. So they're willing to take all of my unwanted and actually put them into a workplace where they can actually work. And then my goal is, my vision is to have housing built so that those individuals can not only work in their community, but they can live in their community. We can enjoy some playground spaces, you know, maybe movie theaters. At one point in time, we had our own stores for appliances, our own furniture, our pharmacy, the whole Duquesne looks so much different. And that's what I want. My vision is to bring that back, but even better.
Okay, and my final point is I was just looking on the computer and I saw Duquesne and it had 53 jobs open in Duquesne. Do you have that many jobs open in the community of Duquesne?
Well, we may. We may have that many. However, again, we don't have skilled labor. So it depends on what exactly are they looking for. So again, we have a lot of people are not familiar with the federal bonding program, which is available to our constituents. You can be federally bonded. The government will ensure that if you do something wrong, they'll pay. We also have a large number of individuals who have criminal records. So even if they say that, yeah, we're going to take you in, or yeah, we're going to go with this checker box and all this other different stuff, it's not really that. Even with one of the employers, which is our largest employer down there, didn't hire people with criminal records. So what they had was they hired people through 2 unemployment agencies. And that was how they worked. So therefore they worked through the unemployment agency and they never had real gainful employment with the company. There were complaints in the community saying, well, they only kept us there for 100 days. And that 100 days was just enough for them to get the tax credit for hiring them.
Was your question, did she answer your question, or was your question directed at the city of Duquesne having that employment?
Well, it just said in the city of Duquesne, it was 53 job openings, and then it was things like sales associate, men's health research, jobs such as that.
Okay, so to make it perfectly clear, it was not for the city of Duquesne. It was located in the city of Duquesne.
Yeah, I guess that's the way it was.
Oh, okay. We wanted to make sure that not only you, but the other people that are listening would understand that.
Okay.
Thank you so
And I
much
must
for
say,
calling. We
I
really
enjoyed the
appreciate it.
program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I wanted to just answer the earlier question, the caller that called in about the two-party system, Democratic Party, and I guess you say with DACA. And that'll just, me answering that question would just give some feedback into, my entry, I would say, into politics. So when you think about the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, this two-party system, I like to think about it as not really a party thing, but as a system thing. So it's more of going against the status quo, I guess the powers that be, or this good old boys club that they kind of have set in place. So I ran for council for the first time in 2008, actually. And I was endorsed that time. I was very surprised. But I was endorsed my first time out by Democratic Party, I would say after 2 months of being on city council and being as vocal as I was, being as outspoken as I was, I started to get attacked. And I'm not going to blame it on the Democratic Party. I would say more that it was the status quo, this good old boys club that was put in place. So I was on council for 2 months, and the first time I voted no. And you would have thought that I killed somebody when I actually voted no, because I didn't agree with it. And I think it was good for the city of McKeesport. And I was threatened several times that you'll never win again, Fawn. First of all, you're black, and you have to have Democratic endorsement to win. So that's when I mean that I was threatened. A lot of the violence that I have experienced hasn't been physical violence, but it has been violent in the form of these people have come against my reputation, they've come against my name, they've just said Lord knows what, just because I kind of went against that, I guess you say the powers that be. So the second time I ran for council, I literally won by 3 votes. I did not get the endorsement. The mayor now, actually, Michael Sharupko, told me, he was on council at that time. He said, you'll never win without the Democratic endorsement because you're black. Well, I proved him wrong, and I did win, and I was not endorsed. I was actually the first black person to ever win the city of McKeesport without the Democratic endorsement. And it was a long, hard-fought race. We knocked on over about 5,000 doors, me and my committee, me and my team. We won that race by 3 votes. But that resistance that I got from this power structure, this system, it was ongoing throughout, I would say, my whole political career, still going on. So when I transitioned to run for state representative, and I called the Democratic Party, you know, the members to try to get their endorsement, hung up on me, called me nigger, why are you running against an incumbent? You know, all of these, you know, things were kind of coming at me, even though the incumbent I was running against, Mark Gergley, had been in there 12 years. He was on trial for corruption, literally at the time. So you have a man who's been in the seat for 12, and that's what I mean about this structure, the status quo system. Been in there 12 years, on trial for corruption, been arrested.
Yeah.
But literally, people were still willing to support him. And did support him. So I ran for the first time in 2016. You know, wasn't successful, but I got 40% of the vote. It was really good for the first time any black person, any black woman.
And see, they look at you not only as African American, but you're African American and female.
And female, right.
Yes.
So as Shirley Chisholm once I had two handicaps that I had to kind of work against. So so that's what I wanted to kind of answer his question when he said, where is the Democratic Party?
Right.
And I look at it as it's really about this power structure and this system of status quo, good old boys club, because it doesn't even matter what party, because I've been in both parties. So it doesn't matter what party that you're in, if you are speaking out against the status quo, if you are not in this club, they will come against you.
Yeah.
And that's just the bottom line. As far as DACA and where all these other people are at, with that, I think that we have to be careful that the good old girls club doesn't become the good old boys club. And I've been saying that for a while, that it does kind of appear like some of those people are, you know, single-handedly picked out, or they're kind of overlooking the people who've kind of been out here doing that for a while. They've never reached out to me specifically, but I just think you have to be careful that it doesn't become you don't want to become what you're trying to resist. Yeah.
Well, sometimes you find yourself in that position that you don't really want to be in.
Right.
And you will find yourself accused of those things because it just happened to be that way.
Right.
I don't think that, I understand what you're talking about. I've had that experience. It wasn't in politics. But where the people who were in power could have been of assistance to me, but they weren't.
Right, they chose not to.
They chose not to. And they chose to see that I was invisible. Now they look at you when you're invisible. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's very admirable for you young ladies to stay as strong as you are and to fight this fight. Because if you don't, we'll just be lost. We need our young black people now to understand what this fight was all about. I was a little girl, and I followed my father everywhere, and he was an NAACP'er. And I was a little girl, and we're going all the way back to the 40s. And so I do know where we were,
Right.
where we've been, and how far we've slid, and how hard we're fighting to get back some of the ground that we lost.
Yes.
So, you know, I was always told as a kid, every 50 years there's some kind of a civil uprising. And I think that I just have that vision that we're facing another civil uprising because of the incident that happened yesterday in Washington, D.C., when the young man from a private school stood in the face of a veteran who has to be in his 70s because he was a Vietnam veteran. How do you do that at 15 or 14 or 15 and disrespect someone who's in the military, has been a hero? If it wasn't for the Indians, we wouldn't have won World War I.
And the adults that should have been chaperoning those kids did nothing to intervene.
Well, they tried to set that up today, but it doesn't matter. What our fight is today is to bring young black women forward.
And we have to support them.
And we have to support them. And we need other young women to support them too. Forget all the other things that you hear, the negativity. No one's ever going to say anything positive about someone who's trying to accomplish something, think of the things that they've given up just to do what they do. Look what you've given up. Look what you've given up. You could fade back in how can I say it, fade back in the trenches and be very financially successful.
And I'm sure some of the things that both of you have had experienced has been very traumatic.
Oh, absolutely.
As particularly when you don't have the full support of your community.
Absolutely, because
Not only has it been traumatic, but it's also been economically not feasible.
Right.
Yes.
right, because I'm a therapist outside of being in politics. I have a background in therapy, and I would definitely say that I have PTSD going through. I was on
What you
council.
went through, yeah.
I was on council for 8 years, and I felt like I was in an abusive relationship. It got
Yeah.
to the point where my husband had to come to the council meetings when I give a report, because we would go back and forth. The present mayor, he was very disrespectful, So and then I was on the defense, so we would always go back and forth. And my husband had to come to the council meetings. My father had to stand outside. I had death threats. I still get death threats, probably like
And
weekly.
you shouldn't have to go through that
Yeah,
because
in
you
my
have a
inbox.
right to run. You have a right to serve your community if you
Oh,
want
yeah.
to. You shouldn't have
We'd
to go
like
through
to host another call if there's anyone out there that would like to call in.
I know for myself, someone had screenshotted and sent me a Facebook posting where someone had made a statement that anyone that supported me should have a bullet in their head. So those are some things where, yes, it is out
that
there.
real, yeah.
It's that
It's
real.
definitely that real. But I know what keeps me going is you all. I always look back at my ancestors. You all, if it wasn't for you all, we wouldn't be sitting here today. People like Miss Alice, Miss Schnel. Miss Schnel is like a McKeesport legend, Mon Valley legend. So if it wasn't for people like you all doing what you did, we wouldn't be able to do this today. And I know our ancestors went through way worse than what we're going through. So that always kind of keeps me going. And I want to highlight the support that I did receive. Always received support from you, Miss Alice and Miss Schnel. Summer Lee just started a PAC called United yesterday, actually.
right, yeah.
And she's been, she's been very supportive as well. So I do want to highlight the support that I did receive. Marita from Wilkinsburg has been very supportive as well. So there are some women, black and white, men as well, who have reached out to me.
And we have started an independent Democratic committee in Homestead because we don't get any help, support, anything from the Democratic committee in Homestead. So we've
What I
started
would like to say,
independent.
we have another call. Thank you so very much. Yeah, who's calling, please?
Hi, my name is Beverly. and I'm
Oh,
calling
Beverly,
from
thank
Liberty
you.
High. First, I want to say I think that your two guests are just very, very brave and authentic women. I just tuned in, and I was listening to, I think the lady's name is Fawn.
Yes.
And I just want to tell both of the ladies I appreciate everything that you are doing. And I really do understand when you say suffering from PTSD, I think it's called, because of all of the abuse that we're subject to.
Yeah.
Because I'm listening and how we have to go back and forth, you know, in trying to just live every day.
Yes.
And it's not like we made steps backwards as much as they continue to try to hold us back, but it's women like you all who keep fighting and fighting against these powers that try to drag us down, and you all too. I'd like to know your opinions on the one man, one vote instead of the electoral college. I'd just like to know each of your guests' opinion, and I'd just like to commend the National Council of Negro Women on such a fabulous job and all the time with all the great guests and information that you all give every time. So I really appreciate the show, and I'm going to hang up and listen to the answer. Thank you.
Wait, honey,
all
don't
very
hang
much.
up yet. What was your question again, real clear?
My question was, I'd like to know your guest's opinion of the one man, one vote opposed to the electoral college.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Well,
I do not agree with the electoral college at all. I think it robs the voters.
explain the electoral college.
So the electoral college, when you vote for the president, The way they break it up, the Electoral College, is you have certain electoral votes from each state. So certain states with higher populations have more electoral votes.
Which is how Trump won.
Which is how Trump won. So
Correct.
what happens if you win that state, you get those electoral votes. So the popular vote doesn't count, the Electoral College counts. So I think that's robbing people of their vote. To me, I mean, I studied political science, so I knew that going in. But I think it slapped us all in the face with Al Gore's election because he won. He won the popular vote. But then the other guy wins the Electoral College.
Yeah.
And when you talk about Electoral College, what they do now is they go and they talk to the delegates. And, you know, there's I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back, and that's how they get these electoral votes. So
What about you, Ms. Nesby?
I'm for the one-on-one vote. I believe in the popular vote. I am not a fan of the Electoral College at all.
I'm a great believer in democracy. In democracy, no one else can vote for me. And if I vote for someone, I want my vote to be counted, and I want my voice to be heard. And what about you?
Oh, I definitely believe in one man, one vote.
Okay.
And now that we're on the subject, Fawn, I'd like for you to talk a little bit about registration.
yes.
And because now I understand you can vote you can register online and on your telephone. How does that?
Thank you very much.
Yes, so you can register online. You can either go to the Allegheny County Board of Elections website, and they have a link, or you can go to the Pennsylvania State's website, and it takes you less than 5 minutes to register online. My first election for state rep, we did this literally at every meeting that we had. We registered over 150 people to vote because all you had to do was pull out your phone, your name and address, and it's done within 5 minutes. So you can do it over your phone now. And it's mobile friendly, so you can do it over your actual cell phone or on your computer.
Isn't that wonderful? So we have to make sure that our community knows that you can register to vote by phone. And I know everybody I see
Got a
that
phone.
I know has a phone.
Has a
Got a cell phone.
Yeah.
So if you don't have to worry about being intimidated when you go to register. You don't have to worry about where to find the registration
Right.
forms and the name of that site again, website.
You can go to the Allegheny County Board of Elections, and they have a link, or you can just go to the state's website.
Very good.
Well, I want to thank you ladies for being here, and I want to congratulate and just give you the biggest hug I can give you for having the nerve and the audacity to fight the system. And get out there and do this for our young people, because we have little ones coming along.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
We want them to be able to enjoy growing up. We also want them to be strong enough to know that they live in a system that they have control over.
Yes, they do.
You know, America, everybody wants to come to America, but it seems as though people have a problem once they get here. They don't like the way we do things.
Yeah.
So I think that if you don't like the way we do things, then you should find someplace else to go. So that'll probably be the end of my my tree in the backyard that they've been attacking. So I just want you to know that you do have our support, and I'm going to do everything that I possibly can, because I don't mind passing out a piece of paper.
And I encourage the listeners to do the same. Whatever community you're living in, get out there, vote, register. If you know people that are not registered, help them get registered, and go to the polls and vote.
Also explain to them that if they do have a criminal record, they can still vote.
Yes.
In the state of Pennsylvania, if you're walking around and can stand on the corner and somebody can see you or touch you, you have the right to vote. So use your telephone in Allegheny.
Allegheny County Board of Elections.
Okay.
You can find out more about Take Action Mon Valley on Facebook. We have a Facebook page.
Oh, good. Okay, very good.
Okay, well, thank you so very much. We appreciate it, and we are just infatuated with you young ladies.
Yes,
And
yes.
just
Thank
keep
you.
moving forward. Thank
And
you
whatever
so very much.
and whatever you need us to do, let us know, and we got your back.
Okay.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, because
Thank you.
elections do matter.
Yes.
Thank
yes.
you. Good night, everyone.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move.